It's obviously quite difficult. Now, offline, we were having a quick chat, and as I said, I'm going to start a podcast or a bit of a show. It's called This is Qatar, and we've done a lot of work in Qatar over the past 6 years, I think it was. You just said something quite interesting that I'm going to use for part of my property networking event, which I'm running an online networking event. To say, right, I've got 250,000 of equity, and my company needs a cash injection, or I'm going to diversify my business and I'm going to remortgage my home or houses or investments, or I'm going to pull the investment, and I'm going to have that pot of cash to protect me and my family.
I was talking about the fact that even though people are of certain levels, financially, influencers, leaders, affluent, I was actually referring to an affluent friend. And what I have found the most interesting is that even the most affluent have felt a different burden and have probably all felt a little bit smaller in this ever-changing landscape. I don't want to use the word that I was... What's that?
The P word.
I don't want to use the P word, no, because I'm sick of it. But yeah, I mean, all rhetoric aside, I've been very interested that even the most affluent of individuals, even the most strongest of leaders would be feeling a different pinch. You know, maybe not necessarily falling themselves down to thinking that they're of a different group, but they're definitely, or the individual I was talking about was definitely feeling a different emotion that he's ever had to feel, because he's been able to probably buy his way out of most of the scenarios that I stereotypically haven't as easily. Yeah, or most of us haven't. So
you mentioned that this individual, or as for many individuals within the property industry that are not necessarily property investors, they might be accidental landlords. I know a very close individual in my circle, again, I'm not going to name who they are, who has equity. So first of all, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you for inviting me. I'm a little bit disappointing I'm number two.
But
I have to say, and I'm not plugging the schools in any way, but both schools have reacted very, very quickly and very, very professionally in setting up the distant learning, online learning for all three of them. Like many other schools in Qatar, and I'm sure many schools have done the same and have done a good job. But just adjusting to studying at home, waking up at the same time they usually wake up to go to school, but not go to school, go to their desks and link to the classroom and link to their teachers and start the learning process. And I have to say it's disruptive, but it's been done in the best possible way. So they actually log in, they attend their classes at the same scheduled time, they engage with their teachers and their classmates. They have set tasks which they submit at the end of each lesson, and they go on to the next lesson. And it's amazing. Even when they have a PE class, they put on their trainers and start exercising somewhere in the house where they can find some space, or outside in the garden. It's remarkable. I mean, my generation, if you told me this could have happened when I went to school, I'd say this was the stuff of fantasies, you know. And it's amazing what can be done now with technology. So from a personal point of view, the schooling has been great. It's as much as it can be. My wife also works at the school where my daughter goes, and she's working from home, and as am I. So we're all learning to live with each other 24/7.
Good morning, Chris Douglas.
Good morning, Simon. Good to see you, mate.
How you doing, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad at all, mate, given the circumstances right now. Yourself? Yeah, sure. So obviously my name is Chris Douglas. I'm an executive wealth manager at the De Beer Group out here in Qatar. I've been out here now 6 years. So primarily my role is obviously helping and managing my clients' portfolios, predominantly expats who I look after, and now around about 300 clients who I manage their investment portfolios out here.
Very good. And so obviously we've known each other for probably about five of that 6 years, both in business and personally. Never really good circumstances personally with regards to the football. We always seem to get beat.
Never has been Scottish.
We need to change that circumstance next year.
Because I don't know if you've ever seen our office prior to Doha Tower, but it obviously wasn't a touch on the building, the facility, and everything, you know. So yeah, it's exceptional, and I think we get the real benefit out of it when clients come in. A nice place to go to work as well.
Yeah, I'll bet. Did you see James? And by the way, that was not scripted. Did you see James Green's very kind words?
Do you know what? I actually did. I was scrolling through LinkedIn and I picked up, because I know obviously for those that don't know, James Green's actually now our divisional manager in Europe, actually the son of our CEO. At the time though, he actually managed the region, so kind of Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, etc. And I think he had quite a bit of an involvement. Actually, I'm sure don't mind me saying this, but I think today it's still our kind of most expensive office. We've got 100 offices worldwide. It's our most office. So,
my clients office.
You know, that means a lot to us. For me personally, the faith that, you know, the likes of James to sign that off, our CEO, to have us, you know, in there, that shows the faith they've got in Qatar is a place for business. Obviously, the people within the office as well. So yeah, I did see James' comments, and I know they were absolutely delighted with it as well, mate. So
indeed. Well, first of all, thanks very much. I know you are one of the busiest men in this country because of the field that you represent. So I appreciate your time, sincerely. But you've listened to the podcast so far. So we're now on episode 4. What do you think of it so far? You were quite keen to jump on this, which I appreciate. You've listened to a couple of the podcasts already. What's your thoughts so far?
I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great idea. I think it's well executed. I've listened to all of them so far, and I think it's great. Which is why, when the opportunity came up, I jumped on it, because I think it's a great idea, well executed. Like I said, I think the expectation is that the number of people who listen to it will continue to grow. So, you know, congratulations to you for getting it going.
I remember meeting you on the football pitch. I do recall, I think one of the first times you had a nasty accident all those years ago. Did that actually end your social football career?
It did. So, you know, I played at pretty good levels when I was in the U.S. When I was in college, I played in college, and you know, I had ideas of playing professionally in the U.S. and there were opportunities, but back then, I mean, there's just no money in football. You know, I mean, there's no way I could build a life on playing football in the U.S. You know, in the late '90s, and so part of the reason why, and there was a sort of 2-year gap between when I finished university and started law school, where I really thought about it, and I thought, you know what, I better go to law school. And when I left the U.S., I thought, okay, well, you know, that's it. You know, hang the boots up. I'll kick around socially, just for a kick around, but nothing organized with my kids, maybe. And so I surprised myself getting back into playing recreational football, organized football when I came here. But I enjoyed it, you know, and thought I'd be playing for a long time. But, you know, like you said, a really freak accident that just ended it all. And I have no regrets, you know. I mean, I enjoyed the guys, I enjoyed playing, and you know, I was getting older anyway, and you know.
I know your fitness routine, so you can't use the age aspect with that one. And a very sort of a simple thank you, because the accent. And where you originate from, and you're using, the Europeans will thank you for that, because you're using the word football in what we would call the correct context and not in the North American context. How's your week been?
Yeah, quite good as well, actually. In fact, I was just saying to somebody every morning, because obviously the office situation is slightly different than normal. Every morning I do a little brief video message to my own team, and obviously we're, you know, first week of May is I'll be finished today, halfway through Ramadan. And so, but no, I think the week has gone pretty well, which started what would end up being a real love affair with the Middle East. So I was supposed to go to India, and at the last minute was changed to Salalah. So quite a big change from what would have been Mumbai to Salalah. And then leaving Salalah, I was supposed to move back to Hong Kong, but instead moved to Dubai, which I'm so thankful about because I met my wife when I moved to Dubai. So that turned out quite good. So Oman to Salalah, to Dubai for a couple of years. And then from Dubai, the first of 2 opportunities I had working in London. So I worked in London for about 4 years. This is all with HSBC, or as your father-in-law would call it, the bank. So worked for the bank there, and then from there to Beirut. Another short stop in Dubai for a few months, back to London for a year. And then my final role in HSBC was in Moscow. So I was CEO for the bank there for a couple of years, which was just phenomenal.
Is that nine placements I've just counted?
I think so, yeah. So
wow.
It's
Over
funny
a span
because
of how many years?
It was 16 years in total.
And I am absolutely thrilled to have my mentor in the podcast world. Look at your face.
Sorry, I nearly choked then.
Stefan Lindbergh-Jones, it is so good to see you, and it is actually quite exciting to have you on the other side of the podcast for a change, because I've done four, I think. My wife is very organised.
Yeah, so is mine. But what's opened our eyes is the fact that, and I don't know if you feel the same, but what they're actually teaching the kids, is it half of the stuff, is it really necessary? And 2, have we not come along since our school days to where we are now and learned about the world and stuff like that? Surely there should be other subjects that get introduced, but it's not. It's the same old factory that's churning out students, and they're not really introducing them to the world properly. And I think that
isn't that just the school society? Isn't a school a conveyor belt so that our children can 95% of the time basically maintain the economy? From a UK perspective, for example, it is literally to get people into teaching jobs, into into law, into accountancy, into these professions that keep the economy and keep the society churning.
Absolutely.
And when you've got individuals such as ourselves that break that mold and have a different way of thinking and say, well, what about business etiquette? Or what about entrepreneurship? Or what about money?
What about money?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about the mortgage that everyone has to face when they leave and they want to buy a house. Why aren't you teaching that? Get a teacher that, but maybe the teachers don't have that experience. That's why I always say to
they don't, because they're not entrepreneurs. That's the point.
No, exactly.
I'm very well. Episode 7, this is Qatar. Sorry you're number 7, but I knew you were busy with a baby, and I thought number 7, 7-month-old James, it was quite fitting. I even decided to wear a golf shirt, a Doha Golf Club golf shirt, I hasten to add, and in one of your favourite colours. So I hope you feel privileged.
That colour really suits you.
Yeah, right. My father better not watch this. He'll lynch me from 3,000 miles away.
But we've got a lot of things coming up here that I don't think we can just press pause on. I think the companies, the industries that are managing this, I don't think they can afford to stop it. But I also don't think they've not taken precautions. I think most of the bigger industries have put steps and procedures in place to try and make it as safe as they can for their employees. And like you touched on, the cases, they seem to fluctuate quite a bit. They go up quite high, and then for a couple of days they'll drop, and you think, okay, maybe this is us showing a bit of positivity, and then they jump up again. So again, the question of unknown, is it always going to go up and down, or is it finally going to hit the peak that we keep mentioning in the news and come to some sort of progression to normal life again? But I don't see it anywhere you go, even if it is as you say, West Bay or the Pearl, the nice parts of Qatar, some of the nice parts of Qatar, there's still cases. I know my parents, they stay on the Pearl as well, and they've had a couple of cases in their building, and that it's not really changed life for them. They've just put out notices to say, make sure you take extra precautions.
Good morning, Ronan Kelly. This is Qatar episode 8. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Good stuff. Not too bad. Thanks very much.
I think whenever she kind of sat down with me and she could see the determination that I had to do it, and she just said, look, even if I say no, you're still going to do it anyway, aren't you?
Where have I heard that before, Ronan?
If you just say yes, if you just say yes, it's easier on everyone then.
But isn't that what the wife usually says? That's what my wife usually says. Listen, just say yes and your life will be much more simple.
Exactly. So it was good to turn the screw.
You need to understand that. Yeah.
So no, to be fair, I mean, she's always supported me in terms of, leaving teaching, because teaching, I was in a job, you had a secure wage, you've got a pension, blah, blah, blah. But, she's always been someone, and she came back that day and seen that I was unhappy and just said, look, if you're unhappy, you change it. And when I said I wanted to move to Qatar, she says, okay, go to Qatar. Whenever I said I think you should come, she came here and give it a go, And I think she'll be the first to tell you now that it was the right thing for our family. It's difficult being away from family and friends. I mean, everybody who's an expat will the first thing they'll tell you is the thing that we hate the most is being away from family and friends. But when you have a very supportive network of family and friends like we do, I'm sure you're no different, where both of our parents are saying to us, we absolutely miss the kids more than we miss you. But I think anybody's parents will say the same. They miss the grandkids more than they miss us.
Introduce two very good friends of mine and client, Charlotte and Casey of Warrior Fit, which is going to revolutionize the fitness industry, right, guys?
Exactly.
I'm talking from maybe like more of the female side of things. The whole everybody wanted to be skinny, and then all of a sudden it was like skinny isn't sexy. It was like the athletic build, strong is sexy, and then all of a sudden everyone was like, I want to be strong. And then kind of I think from there it sort of targeted a lot more people, because all of a sudden people that were already training or that maybe weren't ever going to be skinny but could still be strong and fit and athletic, that was appealing and attractive. And so all of these new places
thrives in change. I think it's exciting. I think you could look at it as this horrible thing that's happened, and in many ways it is, but it's also an opportunity. People are exploring new technologies. We've been able to really try to think about how do we still engage with the community, because the big thing about this is the community, right? The motivation is driven by the people you work out with, it's driven by the community. You get a specialized training program similar to you would if you went to a personal trainer. So how do we still engage? So we've been actually really fortunate in the sense that we have full creative control over the way our business functions. So we've been able to do some stuff online. We've been able to really push the whole live stream. When the restrictions came in Qatar on March, I believe 13th, that said that all gyms must close, we put our heads together that same day, and by Sunday, which is 2 days later, we did our first live stream session. So,
Natalie Clark, a very good morning to you. 12 years, you were one of the first people I met when I came out here.
Yes.
And you've been here for just a little over 14 years, haven't you?
Yeah, coming up 40.
Long time.
This whole experience has been, I could almost say life-changing. It's been spiritual. It's forced me into something that I never faced before. So previously, my day-to-day life was insanely busy. Not only I'm running Reza Hygiene, I was doing nighttime work. I qualified as a microblading artist. This is a little salon I'm sat in now in my house, and I'm doing work for my mum's business in the UK on a nighttime as well. I didn't stop. I think I go to netball and I do stuff with the kids, and I think I had maybe one night a week where I didn't have anything on, and when that was the case, I was twiddling my thumbs, didn't know what to do myself. And then this happened through obviously forced shorter working hours in the offices. We were having to finish at 2:00, come home, couldn't do any brows, wasn't doing any work for my mum. I found myself, don't have to take the kids to school, so that saved time. I found myself with a lot more hours free in the day than I ever had before. And at first, it was honestly uncomfortable. I was kind of pacing the lounge.
Nicholas. Does anyone ever call you Nicholas?
Yeah, my mum.
Your mum?
The only person. It's Nicholas, yeah. Nicky I was called for a long time playing football. I don't know where they got that from. I'll just tell you there's a lot of people don't, because they've never been here, don't understand it and can be critical. You know, I think me and you were possibly the same when we first came here. You know, but when you live here and you're with the locals, you're with everybody, it's a country which is going to surprise people a lot. For everything, for the facilities, for how safe it is. You know, it's a very unique country, and that's why we know that. That's why our families are here. The other unique thing about it is obviously this is going to be a unique World Cup because you can watch 3-4 games a day. You know, there is not a big distance between the grounds. I think Al Khor's the furthest one away, which is 40 minutes. The rest after that, you could possibly throw a stone to them. They really are close together, so it's going to be unique.
Well, if you look at Rasa Bergud Stadium, the container stadium, to Wakra Stadium, that's about 10, maximum 15-minute drive. Then you go round the corner to, the name escapes me now. But there's one just on E Ring Road, which was designed by Ibrahim Jeda. That's almost finished, and then you carry on along D Ring Road and you get to Khalifa, then you carry on along and you get to Education City, and then you turn left and you get to Al Rayyan. That's 6 stadiums in about an hour.
If you go to the Torch at Aspire, that there is, but that's when you get to the top of that and you actually look and you can see them. You think, wow, you got the Khalifa right behind you, then Rayyan's not far away. It's ever so close, you know. But when we say close, there still is a little bit of space in between, but not anything like what we used to see. We just come off Russia, just come off Brazil before that. You know, it's not like
this that. This is it. You look at Russia. I remember probably listening to the TV pundits talking about where England's base was and where their first game was taking place, and it was a 10-hour flight.
Yeah.
It was like 10-hour flight to get to the first game. It's a 10-minute drive from the hotel to the first stadium here.
Absolutely, but as a player, they have the base. They will stay in a hotel all the way through here. They will have their own training grounds. And I have to say as well, the training grounds are up and running. They're already available. There's one just around the corner from us here now. You know, and that will be something different, I would imagine, for the players in the World Cup. Better as well.
That's going to be very important. As an ex-player yourself, how important is that, do you think? Because I don't remember the last World Cup that this would have happened, where all the way through the tournament, whether you get to the final, you would stay in the same hotel and have the same training facilities. That must be a major, major benefit to the players and their lack of fatigue and their fitness.
And the fans as well, you know, think about the money, what they will be saving as well from the travelling around. But yes, to have a base, to have a training ground, you know, is something different, and I think it's an advantage for the players, definitely. You know, this is
going to benefit recovery periods. It's going to benefit their fitness.
Well, just travelling. If you're doing a 10-hour flight, you know, we all know what flying does to you. It's not the best, really. So they haven't got that. So this will be a unique World Cup.